its personnel from flying with the airline. This is the external environment coming in. This is the external environment coming in and pressurising you. And is the airline taking notice of this? South Korea's safety rating was downgraded by the US Federal Aviation Authority, and the Canadian officials informed Korean Air Management that they were considering revoking the company's overflights and landing privileges in Canadian airspace. So it's pretty serious stuff, isn't it? In the midst of the controversy, an outside audit of Korean air operations was leaked to the public. The 40-page report, I'm going to give you a copy of this afterwards, so you know, you don't need particular detail. You don't know how many people died, that's in the addendum. The 40-page report was quickly denounced. So let's go over that. In the midst of the controversy, an outside audit of Korean Air's operations was leaked to the public. The 40-page audit report was quickly denounced by Korean Air officials. I know, by the way, I've looked at very many organisations, that's a key thing, it's this denial thing. We did that this morning, didn't we? It's this key thing about denial. This is not happening to us, you know, the audit's rubbish, you know, they've got the wrong auditors in, you know, they looked at the wrong things. You've heard it all before, you've perhaps said it, you know, in performance management things. You know, no, you don't want to look over there, look over here. So, the 40-page report was quickly denounced by Korean air officials as sensationalised and unrepresentative. 17 times higher, that's right. Unrepresentative. But by that point, it was too late to save the company's reputation. The audit detailed instances of flight crews smoking cigarettes on the tarmac during refuelling and in the freight area and when the plane was in the air. Crew, it said, inverted commas, crew read newspapers throughout the flight, the audit stated. Inverted commas, often with newspapers held up in such a way that if a warning light came on, it would not be noticed. It's going to get any worse. The report detailed bad morale, numerous procedural violations, and the alarming conclusion that training standards for the 747, the classic Boeing, were so poor that, inverted commas, there's some concern as to whether the first officer on the classic fleet could land the aircraft if the captain became totally incapacitated. He didn't bother because we can't go flying because of it. Oh, they're actually in the clouds here, so you know, we're all safe. By the time of the Shanghai crash, the Korean president, Kim Dan-jung, felt compelled to speak up. The issue, inverted commas, the issue of Korean Air is not a matter of an individual company, but a matter for the whole country, he said. This is pretty big pressure, isn't it? Building up here. Why did it take so long for this pressure to build up? For goodness sake, where was management in all this? You know, where was some sort of basic thinking, no around systems thinking, basic thinking. So that's me talking. Okay. The issue of Korean Air is not a matter of an individual company, but a matter of the whole country, he said. Our country's credibility is at stake. Dae-jung then switched, the president, Dae-jung then switched the presidential plane from Korean Air to its new arrival, Asiana. But then a small miracle happened. Korean Air turned itself around. Today the airline is a member of good standing and is a member of the prestigious Sky Team Alliance. Phew, I'm going for that. Its safety record since 1999, not that long ago really, 1999, is spotless. In 2006, Korean Air was given the Phoenix Award by Air Transport World in recognition of its transformation. Aviation experts will tell you that Korean Air is now as safe as any other airline in the world. In this chapter, we're going to conduct a crash investigation, listening to the black box cockpit recorder, examine the flight records, look at the weather and terrain and the airport conditions, and compare a couple of the crashes. Actually, we're not, because we're just going to stick with the Korean one. Okay. Plane crashes rarely happen in real life. Plane crashes rarely happen in real life the same way as they do in the movies. Some engine part does not explode in a fiery bang. The rudder doesn't suddenly snap off due to forced takeoff. The captain doesn't gasp, "Dear God." And so back in his seat as if like, "Oh, did you see there? Back in outside."
They do actually. I've been on a plane with pilots died.
Really?
Pilots died.
Did he say that?
I was cabin crew. It's my first season flying.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Saying
Pilot does
funeral service. What they do, just strap them in the
Captain died. I was on approach to Malaga Airport actually.
Oh, right.
About 20 minutes out. No, we.
Did you all put your hands up there?
No, we did have a first officer that competently got us onto the ground, but there were a few issues, safety issues. He had to land with 3 members of cabin crew, giving the captain CPR. Just including when you can't steer a plane on the ground from the right-hand seat, so it wasn't easy.
There's a display of aerobatics, I don't know if you saw it out here at lunchtime, little bike there. There's a little sports bike, doing looping the loop and all the rest of it.
Well, I know another captain that used to do those, and he died at Dr. Who slammed his vintage aircraft into the ground.
That's where it goes. Do you still fly?
Still love flying, yeah.
But did you see that those aerobatics? He was perfect. And he was going straight up in the line. And then instead of stalling and coming back down, he actually went back over. Lovely stuff. Okay. The captain doesn't ask, "Dear God," and is thrown back against his seat. The typical commercial jet airline at this point, today's date, is about as dependable as a toaster. Not comparison, I thought, it's dependable as a toaster. Plane crashes are much more likely to be the result of an accumulation of minor difficulties and seemingly trivial malfunctions. Seemingly trivial malfunctions. I said earlier it shouldn't have taken this much to get Korean Airlines to be taking some action. And there's a footnote here which I'll just read out because I think it's important to what we're looking at, organisation development. This is not just true of plane crashes, it's true of virtually all industrial accidents. And it is, all the ones I've ever heard about. You think, why did action not get taken earlier? One of the most famous accidents in history, for example, was the near meltdown in Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island nuclear station in 1979. 3 Mile Island was so traumatised, the American public, that it sent the US nuclear power industry into tailspin, from which it has never fully recovered. But what actually happened at that nuclear reactor began as something far from dramatic. As the sociologist says in his classic normal accidents, there's a relatively routine blockage in what is called the plant's polisher, a kind of giant water filter. The blockage caused moisture to leak into the plant's air system, inadvertently tripping 2 valves and shutting down the flow of cold water into the plant's steam generator. Like all nuclear reactors, 3 Mile Island had a backup cooling system for precisely this situation. But on that particular day, for reasons that no one really understands, the valves for the backup system weren't open. Somebody closed them down. And an indicator in the control room showing that they were closed was blocked by a repair tag hanging over the switch. So you couldn't see it. So in the Korean airline, you've got the guy with the newspapers here, you've got a repair tag hiding it. That left the reactor dependent on another backup system, a special sort of relief valve. But, as luck would have it, the relief valve wasn't working either. It stuck open when it's supposed to close, and to make matters even worse, a gauge in the control room that should have told the operator